Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Francine, and I am here with my channel, The Oracle, or I almost said The Oracle, the Oversoul Archives. So my name has changed because I feel like there's a lot shifting with my mentality and belief system. So if you want to look into the Oversoul to kind of get an idea of where my beliefs stand as far as our soul and how it's all kind of expressed in creation and consciousness as a whole, please check it out. Look up Oversoul, see what that is all about. I feel like it's a message for someone that's watching this video today. So today is January 19th, 2025. I had to look on my computer here, and we're going to be going into part 2, phase 2 of, this is going to be technically phase 1.2 or 1.5. I haven't decided yet. It's going to be a continuation of phase 1, and it's not quite at phase 2 yet, so we're going to be talking about what we left off at, which was about abandonment. We were talking in the last video about masculine energy and just kind of looking at how masculine energy has been portrayed in the media, in society, and really what it's all about. What are the light attributes of masculine energy, and what are the shadow attributes, and how can we integrate them? Okay, not being afraid to look at the shadow attributes and not completely throw away masculine energy just because of something that we see that we don't like, that's unsavory within masculine energy in general. So I feel like as feminines like myself, I feel like it's really important to embody and understand how we can tap into the masculine energy, because it is a part of us. All of us internally have a way in which we operate in the world. Some of us are more leaning towards one or the other. Some of us combine them and integrate them into such a way that it's almost androgynous. And that's something that's really beautiful. It's on a spectrum. So I really want to look at it. I want to look at masculine energy in this series, and I want to look at how we can heal. How can we address and start questioning the things that we kind of see that are off-brand, or see that are so to us normal, but are actually something and a sign of something that needs to be addressed in within us and outside of us. So we're gonna just go right into abandonment. Okay, if you guys are interested in other series that I've done a series on karmic relationships and karmic archetypes. I'm going to continue doing that for my members. So if you are a member, thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this transitionary period. And I hope that I get to see more people in the memberships as well, because there's a lot of topics that I want to address with you guys. And I feel like it's specific for the people that are going through those situations and need a shamanic approach to the messages, to the topics at hand. And as I did that, I saw the devil at the bottom. So it's all about what we've acquired from our experiences and how we can address them so that we're not controlled by them. Okay, we don't want to allow our fears, our insecurities, our doubts to be what drives us in our lives, because it's usually not helping. It's not something that empowers you when you're going in, if you're in alignment with the things that no longer serve you anymore, when you're just kind of sticking to the things that you know, when you know also that you're growing and that it's not feeling as it once did to you, right? So check out my membership if you're interested in more shamanic practices in terms of karmic archetypes. If you're interested in more pick a card messages, collective messages, I have over 400 on there, so please check it out. And then also, if you're interested in a personal reading, I have so many lovely people that have come back with confirmations of how their readings have resonated for them, and I have such a long list of confirmations that it really warms my heart. So if you're interested in a personal reading as well, check out my other videos, see if you like my style of doing readings in general for the collective, and then go with your gut. Your gut usually will tell you, and maybe it's not the right time, maybe it's later, but check it out. I have in my community tab a list of all my readings, so see if any of them resonate with you, and if not, reach out to me and ask me if there's a way that we can incorporate something that I haven't addressed on that list. I also do want to share that I do have a bartering system as well. So if you feel like you're not in a place where you physically have and there's I feel like there's a confirmation with that. 417 is significant for someone. Someone here needs to look at that numerologically. It also reduces to 12, so 12 is significant. If you've been feeling like you're in hanged man energy or hanged man mode, your spirit team is trying to tell you that there's someone or there are other people around you that can help you as well in understanding and perceiving something differently while you're in suspense or deliberating on something. So if you're deliberating on a partner, for instance, or deliberating on next steps in career, I do personal readings for that as well. So yeah, let's just use every single freaking thing. Let's just use everything that we see going on around here. So let's begin. Spirit team members, thank you so much for the messages that we've already gotten. Thank you for this energy exchange that we're having right now with the people that matter, the people that are important for this message. Please assist this message in getting through in a clear and succinct way so that we can really address our fears with regards to the masculine energy. Anything that is meant to come through, please assist me with clairaudient or clairvoyant messages so that it can be expressed to the collective here. So thank you. Thank you, Spirit. All right, 1, 2. I feel like I need to just start. Let's start with just abandonment, okay? So with regards to the masculine energy, what would you like to say about abandonment for us, Spirit team? We have the Queen of Swords, okay? That's a very direct energy. That's a person that tends to cut, that can cut with their words. They're just very clear, okay? Very logical, very communicative. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius energy. So there may be some Gemini, Libras, and Aquariuses that are listening to me right now. We have the Moon. Being able to communicate what's within you or some deeper topics, and the Eight of Wands, yeah. So with abandonment, okay. I have some notes for it, so we're going to be touching base with this. With regards to the abandonment wound, I left you guys off on this note of telling you and asking you the question, have you ever lost a loved one that was like a mother or father figure to you? They could have been biologically a mother or father, or they could have been someone that you really looked at as like your mother or father in your life. When there's a loss or there's grief or sorrow surrounding the loss of a loved one that felt like a mother or father figure, or felt like you didn't in general have a mother or father figure with you on your journey, there's like there's a sense of going it alone. This feels like the Five of Pentacles energy. This is when someone decides to take what they can. It's like backpacking into the abyss or into life, and taking what you can take and learning your own lessons, but not having that support and that kind of like bubble around you. You could have, mind you, had a grandparent, you could have had a friend, but I like to make sure that I talk about mother and father woundings in the sense of what the mother archetype is all about and what the father archetype is all about. They come in many forms in this life and in many lives. You know, sometimes you have a literal mother that acts on and is what a mother archetype is, and sometimes your mother can act like your sister, your daughter, your son. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are people in your life that aren't what the job description entailed them to be. So I want to look at the mother and father archetype here. So with the mother and father archetype, and we'll tie these cards in, of course, I feel like I need to just address that. In Carolyn Miss's archetype deck, we have the mother archetype as nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life, if you guys can see that. So anyone in your life, can you think of someone in your life that was nurturing, that was patient, that expressed unconditional love to you, that helped facilitate growth in your life? How does it feel, or how did you feel when you lost that parent or that archetype in your life, if you have? Those of you that have will resonate deeply with this. There's a sense of like grief in feeling like you're kind of like isolated from this person in some sense, even if they're in the spirit realm or they're around you and they're taking care of you, nurturing you in another way, right? There's still a sense of loss with the physical aspect of their being in your life. So it's like they leave their mark on you, where you're just missing this person or thinking and wondering how they're doing, and wanting to thank them, to be grateful to them for what they taught you, what they showed you about life, the sweet memories that you've made with them. There's a lot of beautiful things that come to mind when you have a healthy person in your life with this archetype, okay? With the abandonment happening for the mother and the father, right, we have to keep in mind that our natural response varies. But if we were to go along what tends to happen commonly for humans, as humans, I would say that most people, after dealing with a mother or father wound, or losing that archetype in their lives, they tend to feel a lot more pressure and more burden upon themselves to provide themselves with what they need that they're not receiving from another person anymore. So it's like a child who loses their mother or father early on in life. It's going it alone, or feeling like there's some hole or something that needs to be filled, or needs to be bridged in their life, in the form of the other parent following through on taking care of them and taking on both roles, or just someone coming in to provide some kind of structure, support when that person is gone. There's something really vulnerable about that energy. And with regards to the masculine energy, and with regards to Atlantis and Lemuria represented the feminine, and this is what I was talking about in the last phase, or the last video. Lemuria embodied all of the nurturance, patience, kindness, unconditional love that we as a world really can embody and see. And we had that physical manifestation of the mother archetype in Lemuria, and we had the father archetype of Atlantis. Regardless of what highs and lows, shadow and light they experienced, there was that energy where they brought these two things. And as a people, a collective that span different regions of the world, that span different experiences and different histories, we're all connected, and we all felt the loss. I feel like on a spiritual level, if you were to think about it, the loss of these two civilizations really brought about a lot of questioning, a lot of searching, a lot of trying to bridge something that was no longer available, in a sense, to us, because it was something that tangibly was taken, or something that tangibly dissipated. So there's something important about us seeing that when there's that loss in our lives, we fill it with other things. A lot of the times when someone leaves our life, whether it be through choice, right, or through disaster, through an accident of some sort, when they leave, there's like a sense of anger at someone, angry at God, anger at the people involved in the circumstance, sadness, okay, self-pity. There's these emotions that we have to filter and understand and dig into, or at least express, to deal with the pain. This is something that I really want to address with you guys. And so the feeling of being alone or being separate from a unit is a big part of what the shadow energy of the masculine presents to us. It's what do you do, like I said in the first video, what do you do when things get hard? You don't have to act in the shadow, but it's quite easy to get into a state of feeling as if you are alone or isolated. But know, collective, that you are not truly isolated. You can feel isolated or not feel isolated, but feeling and knowing, there's something about us understanding the distinction between the two. And there's this thing where in my mind, as soon as I said that, I thought of this Queen of Swords, and I feel like I want to note that to you guys. Sometimes we can know something, right? And I'm sure you guys have felt this, know something but not feel it. And you're just like, logically I get that. I know that I'm never alone. I know that I have spirit guides and all of that. But, and then we get that big but in there where we're just like, that's not reaching, it's not bridging the gap from my heart to my head. My head gets that, I understand that mentally, but in my heart I don't. There's an importance in us, there's a lot of sirens right now, there's an importance in us knowing, from the heart space. So this Queen of Swords is going through almost like a metamorphosis or an experience where she's going through, I almost said the maze, but going through the moon energy, the deep feelings within the heart space, the intuitive nudgings of the heart space, and becoming stronger through it. You can be very intellectual and have like an understanding of how to communicate and how to convey what you're feeling and to know things and to comprehend things. The Queen of Swords is very intelligent, but there's an intelligence that comes with an experience like losing a mother or father, losing someone you love deeply, someone you really depended on, and finding your way through something that is like a maze or something that is unknown to you. So I'm really wanting to bring that up because that grief and sorrow can really produce this experience of going through a transition, of going through a journey, of going through a lot of changes in your life. It can really throw you into a whole bunch of different experiences. And so as a world, as the earth, right, losing that mother and father archetype, that very high spiritually advanced, technologically advanced society, those two societies, Lemuria and Atlantis, are kind of like a foreshadowing of what we experience, or at least a larger overarching theme of what we experience individually with the people that we love and honor as a mother and father archetype in our lives, whatever they look like. And so with masculine energy and the shadow attribute of it, the fear of abandonment, that wound, the way that we commonly cope with it, that at least my spirit team wants me to talk about, this is what is relevant for the people I speak to. You may find other things as well to add to this because we are so diverse in how we approach these woundings. But the three that I'm going to be talking about right now with you guys is the bully archetype. How we cope, we tend to cope with the shadow attribute of these three: bully, the prince, and the mother archetype. Funnily enough, the mother archetype in the shadow is the one that came out, but not the father. So with the bully archetype, I want to get into that with you guys. Okay, bully archetype conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. This reminds me of a lot of instances where if you're trying to tell people, I can do this, I want to do X, Y, or Z, and it's something that people aren't really doing all the time. Like for instance, I want to be a rocket scientist, and someone shoots you down and starts verbally abusing that idea, or saying, how could you ever do something like that? Like you putting people down, abusing others, trying to conceal their deep fears for what they couldn't do or didn't want or didn't see themselves doing in the past, and wanting others to do that as well. So there's something here about the wounding. When you're abandoned, sometimes you begin to tell yourself lies or begin to tell yourself things about your situation that aren't truly your reality or have to be your reality. I'm trying to think of a specific scenario for this as well, because I feel like this is really breaking it down. I want to break it down for you guys. What's an example, Spirit Team, of the shadow attribute of the bully? We have the Empress. We have that feminine energy here coming through, the abundant energy, the Nine of Pentacles. And we have one other card here, the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, it's about like taking what you can get, in a sense. Like you have so many things that you can accomplish and do with the Empress. It's like in a very abundant energy. There are so many things around you. It's like when you're pregnant as well, it's like there's so much promise within you. But then there's a sense of salvaging or thinking that you have to salvage the illusion that you don't have enough after all. So I'm back. So I was just talking about the energy of salvaging, or trying to find... I just heard a ringing in my ears. So there's something significant about 5/15. That could be May 15th is significant to someone. Someone could have been born May 15th, or something may happen in your life that's really significant May 15th. I've noticed that a lot of the times synchronicities are just coming at me, and like when I heard that ringing in my right ear, it just made me feel like I should tell you guys that. So moving into the message that we were expressing, that I was expressing earlier with the Empress energy of abundance, the reality, and then also the illusions of needing to work towards something in the sense of it's not already inherently yours before you have to then salvage or try to construct it. There's beauty in constructing your own thing, creating your own business, being independent, finding balance in all of it. But what I'm saying is there's a distinction between operating out of a place of lack and operating out of a place of pure, I'm hearing indulgence, and also in knowing who you are and knowing that it comes from you. Everything stems from you. It's only like an expression or a flower in your garden. The things that you create and craft come directly from you and from your energy. So seeing the abundance of your energy is something that's so necessary. But oftentimes with the bully archetype, we can be our own worst enemies. And I also feel like I need to say, like, you become your own worst, like you sabotage sometimes the things that you have in your life that you really treasure, like relationships. After losing, for instance, for me, after losing my father and feeling a spectrum of emotions when I lost him, and I lost him through cancer. So seeing him degrade in a sense physically, seeing him go through like a whole slew of different illnesses and different experiences and pain and trauma, I saw like the breakdown of his energy, and I saw the breakdown of his character, and I saw him when things got really hard. And you know, as a father figure, you look up to your dad and you're like, he's so strong, like he, you know, doesn't deal with X, Y, or Z. And then you see him crying, or you see him like really emoting or showing sides of him that typically, like for fathers in the 50s and earlier, you don't really see as often. You know, it wasn't quite as common to see your father go through something emotionally, or to cry, or to express certain emotions. So for me, that was very eye-opening. And when he was gone, it's the energy like of feeling like doubt, you know, in a number of things that I know to be true logically, and having to reconcile that in my heart, but also feeling like a sense of, wow, what do I do now? You're gone. And it felt like just the energy of someone who, for me, felt like it happened too soon, felt like there were a lot of things that, you know, bully you, insecurities or feelings of I should have done this, that, and the other thing. I should have been present for all of this. I should have been. And, you know, there's a lot of things in life that affect how you're able to express your love, or how you're able to be there in a way. You can express it, but sometimes the experience of going through it with your family member or your loved one, it differs, it changes based on life circumstances and where you are physically, geographically, where what experiences you've had prior to the illness or prior to loss, right, with that person, and how it affects your way of addressing it or perceiving the situation. Just looking at this, and from my perspective, I can see how the bully archetype can really come through and really mess with your mind and make you feel like you have to pick on yourself, or you have to prevent other people from telling you or bringing you down first. So you bring yourself down first. You know, I should have done this, I should have done that, shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know, all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. So that is one aspect of the shadow energy. It comes and stems from, one of the things it does stem from is a sense of loss or abandonment, of feeling like, for instance, with, you know, people and their perspectives on God, or perspectives on deities, perspectives on people that they consider to be mentors to them. When it comes to loss and not having those mentors, you think it's something that you did, or something that you attracted, or something that was your fault, right? That I'm the reason my mother and my father didn't love me or didn't want me, and things like that. Yeah, it can really get you stuck in your head when you think this way. And so that's one archetype, okay? And then the second archetype, with the Prince archetype, this is about using power for self-aggrandizement. So With this one, it's acting or speaking in a way that makes yourself appear more powerful than other people. So kind of juxtapositioning yourself where you're above others now, because you don't want people to try to bring you down, right? With the bully archetype, sometimes you then put yourself above in a sense and see yourself as more than someone, or more valuable than someone. You try to assert yourself, assert dominance. This is commonly done. And I just want to preface this by stating this is in no way trying to put down like families, or like the structure of families and the importance of each of the children and their part or their experience in a family setting. But I'm just going to mention this as an example for you guys with regards to juxtapositioning, or juxtaposing, if that's the way you say it, putting yourself above, way higher in a sense, and looking down at other people. This can be something that is done within a family unit. When parents die, the siblings could sometimes take on this role where they become the mother or father archetype as well. And there's a need for consideration and for compassion. Of course, there's a need for also recognition of when you may put yourself in a position where you almost seem as though you have to be the authority figure in all factors, and not allow yourself to kind of consolidate, or to be a child anymore. It's like the need to be that adult figure for your siblings. Now they're like your children. This is an example. And so there's a need for us to see the importance of how this affects our lives, when we're thrust into a position that we didn't want to be in or didn't expect to be in, but because of the loss of a loved one, we then have to assert that, and we have to take care of those people beneath, in a sense, us. But then we become so powerful in a sense that we almost forget that we have our healing journey to take care of, and we have our own things that need to be addressed that can affect how we see our siblings or see our children, now that we're that authority figure in that your siblings' lives, right? So this is an example. This can be done in societies as well. When a major person passes away, like a president or a king or a queen, when someone passes away and the other person before or underneath them, like the vice president or the son, the prince, right, has to take over authority for that person that's lost. There's like a sense of needing to assert yourself in order for people to take you seriously, because you really care about what people think of you and how they see you and their perceptions of how you will rule and dominate, or how you will assert your authority. And sometimes you can become even tyrannical when you feel as though you don't trust in yourself that you are capable of doing what your mother or father did, or capable of doing all of what they did. Sometimes you assert yourself to the extent of thinking that you are the end-all be-all in authority in some way or shape or fashion. Sometimes the princes are the ones that are a little more they didn't have the time to mature and to become the monarch that they wanted to be, but they're thrust into it at a young age. So these are just some examples. The third one is smothering or abandoning children with the mother archetype in the shadow. So I have it written down here: smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. Has anyone ever smothered you or abandoned you? Has anyone ever instilled guilt into you for becoming independent, for not calling enough, or for not doing enough, for being so independent that you don't seem to give them someone the much needed boost or much needed energy that they are so accustomed to having with you? I do want to remind everyone that in reality, right, we have such love and compassion and kindness and care for people in our family, but also know that no one is deserving of your energy if you're not willing to give it. No one off the rip just is deserving or responsible for taking your energy. Like, no one truly has the capacity and should have the capacity to try to make you feel guilty for not pouring into them. We all have our own autonomy. We all have the right to say no. I have boundaries now. I am not going to instill, or I'm not going to, do all these things that you expect of me, because I'm not in a place mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually to do that for you, or I've chosen not to do that. There's something about the shadow archetype of the mother that can affect many of our masculines in society. I feel like there's a direct link to that, actually. This is just something to be careful of with mothers that are in the shadow, that don't want to listen to people that say this, or that aren't ready to like really receive something that's said in various forms across their lifetime. But there's a need to not smother other people when you feel like you're lacking in some way. There's a need to go within and say, that person's actually loving me, but there's something about me expecting them to express it in such a way that they lose their energy or lose more of who they are as people. That's not love. If you're trying to take from someone to the excess, or expecting it, or insisting that it belongs to you. Okay, there's a need for us to not have as much insistence on people coming through for us when we ourselves are whole already. Okay, there's a need for that to come through as well. We are whole, each and every one of us. We have healing to do, but we are already whole. So there's a need for us to come from that perspective. Whenever we try to take or to try to siphon energy from other people through vampiric energies or tendencies, like of trying to claim someone else's energy as our own, know that that was never yours to begin with. And know that your energy was never theirs to begin with. It's all about choosing how you put and how you portion your energy, or what you put your energy into, and knowing that it's still yours, no matter where it goes, who you give it to, who you supply it to. Okay, guys, so that would be the end of this reading. I'm gonna just hold off on moving into the next phase. That's actually gonna be the phase 1.2. And I'm going to be calling that wishful thinking isn't enough. Neither are good intentions. So stay tuned for that. There's a lot more coming in. And I'll see you guys then. Take care. If you resonated with this message, by the way, feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment on what resonated for you, what made you think and pause. And I would love to hear it. So take care, and I'll see you guys next time.